Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, it's time for below grade level. Watch out, we're right behind you.
Hello and welcome to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books we read as kids and read them as adults and ruin them. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Eaton. With me as always is Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
And Chris Zaleski.
Salutations.
So formal. How's it going tonight?
That was a Charlotte's Web reference. You know, books from our childhood. Trying to be on brand here.
Did the spider say salutations?
Yes, she taught the word to, what's his face, Wilbur.
She should have said spider-tations.
That is not good.
Can I leave?
Well, you know what? We've had a good run. We're like at 104 episodes. We might as well just throw in the towel now. The person you hear giving me a pity laugh is our special guest for tonight, returning champion, John Nagle. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there, man. Ready for some awkward, prepubescent flirting.
Good. Good, because you will probably get it.
It's what we're here for. It's what the listeners are here for.
I can't remember what the last book we had you on for, John, was by. Do you know that you've read Pike with us before?
I just remember it involved cookies and VCRs, and it made me...
The immortal enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you so obsessed with cookies? Which,
Oh my god, did you ever find out what happened in that book?
No.
She was a time-traveling robot who accidentally fell in love with her grandfather.
What?
I know! That's the best way to sum it up. That's why she's obsessed with cookies. Because she was literally, like, born yesterday. Was like, how to be a girl. Cookies and boys. One of the boys is my grandfather. That's not incest, right? It doesn't count yet. I'm a robot. Made of robot parts. That's why she almost cuts her finger off and is fine.
It's... You could be super good at improv and making all that up on the spot, but that's exactly what happened in that book.
You know I'm not good at improv, so you know that what I'm saying is true.
See, like, this is why I was born too late, because I would have thrived in the publishing trenches where crap like that could be peddled to teens.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god.
I really, I don't know what teens read now, if they do. I don't know, I don't know
they read
what
the subtitles of TikToks.
Oh, shit, you're right. Yeah, I don't know what took the place of, these books, but goddamn, I love these books so much. John, you're helping us read Scavenger Hunt by Christopher Pike.
Yes. The covers were always so cool, and now reading the books, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, check out the cover of this one.
Yeah, see, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
Nice 1991 neon.
There we go.
You know? Looks
just
like
love the font.
Yeah, it's very look at this cup. You know, it's got that cup writing.
Yes. There should be triangles and squiggles on it.
Yes, yes.
And the font is very much coming up at the mall this weekend.
Yeah. Come see the Ninja Turtle.
Becca, what happened last time on Scavenger Hunt?
I forgot I had to do this again.
Just the last time, though, not the whole time.
Last time, we learn a little bit more about some of these kids. We meet Paula, who was Joe's girlfriend when he died, and she basically has become a bad kid.
Yeah.
You know? She's smoking cigarettes and she doesn't care about authority and stuff.
She's filling with the bad kid crowd.
Yeah. Paula and Rick are siblings. We have an assembly at the school about the scavenger hunt. The assembly is given by Mr. Partridge, who is the sponsor of the Partridge Club, who throws the scavenger hunt. But then there is also a thing about... Which one? Davy is I thought Davy was a part of the Partridge Club, but he doesn't know the details.
I feel like they haven't really gone into the Partridge Club.
Yeah,
part
Ceci
of it.
keeps
it seems to be school-wide.
trying to be like, come on, you know the answer. And he's like, no, I don't. Stop saying that.
Yeah,
But
I think they just say that because he's class president.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we meet Mr. Partridge. I didn't write the description down, but they were describing him in a way that sounds like he's Frankenstein, basically.
Yeah. He's like tall and gaunt, and he's wearing sunglasses. He's clearly a vampire or something.
Yeah.
Some kind of ghoul.
Some sort
looks
of
like
ghouler
Nick
or
Cave.
monster. Yeah, or he's just Nick Cave.
I don't know what Nick Cave looks like. Is that what Nick Cave looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
pretty
guy who
much.
sings Red Right Hand?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I can't believe the guy who sings Red Right Hand would look like a vampire.
I don't know. I was picturing him being like kind of dreamy.
Oh,
No,
no.
well, he is, but he's
Oh.
also gaunt and pale.
If you're into that look.
Yeah. Becca's looking.
Let's all stop to look at a picture of Nick
I could
Cave.
look it up.
Well, there you go.
He looks. What the fuck? He looks like a younger version of the bad guy from Phantasm.
I don't know what Phantasm is. We learned that the school is called Jacob High, which is a weird name for a school, but
I'm
of
not
course.
going to recover from knowing what Nick Cave looks like.
I'm so sorry. I wrote Mr. Partridge is Dracula, so maybe we did settle on he's very vampiric. We get the scavenger hunt instructions, and it's basically a series of riddles where the kids will have to like kind of solve the riddle to find the location. Is Alfie or Dusty twisted up in your headphones cord?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but our cat Dusty, who demanded to jump up in my lap, has literally twisted his body around my headphone cord.
Get him out.
It's like he did it on purpose.
He's like, you'll never get
Sabotage.
rid of me.
Ow, Jesus Christ.
Okay, so they have to solve the riddle to find the locations, and then there's an object at the location that they need to take with them, because they'll need all the objects at the end for some reason, and we don't really know why.
Yeah.
That we learn the prize is a trip to Hawaii.
Yes.
And
Seems too good to be true.
the team breakdown is Ceci, Davy, Carl, and Tom, and then Rick, Paula, and Tracy.
Okay, I do have a question.
Yes.
Okay, this is a high school,
Mhm.
Yes.
and presumably a public high school.
I
Possibly,
guess so, yeah.
probably.
They haven't mentioned.
I mean, but they can afford to send kids to Hawaii. I don't know.
I don't know how rich the town of Express is.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's heir to the Express for Men fortune. I mean,
Oh, I gave them a lot of money.
so did I. You need one suit, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first, the first scavenger hunt item is a knife, I guess. They find a box of knives in like a
Yeah.
pool grate or something. And then the second item is a watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe I forgot this already after saying it. We get a really long explanation of a newspaper story that Davy read
Mm-hmm.
about a gold mine that's haunted, and he wants Rick, because I guess Rick is just smart, he wants Rick to help him find the gold mine
Rick is like...
that apparently a bunch of people died in because it's cursed and haunted.
Yeah. And Rick is like... They're making a big deal about how like smart Rick is. Like they really wanted Rick on... Like people wanted Rick on their teams because they figured he could like solve the clues really quickly, which he's been
And
doing.
Is this only a senior class thing? Because they do say that Rick is younger, so is he like moved ahead in school? Because he's only 15, I think.
Oh, really?
And the rest
He's
of them are
just
18.
that smart.
He's just that smart.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if it was a senior class thing or...
If they said that, I forgot.
I don't know.
I
Okay.
don't know. They might not have said it. I just... can you open your phone back up and pull up that picture of Nick Cave? And then
Yes.
I want to hold up your phone and my phone next to each other so you can see pictures of Nick Cave next to the picture of the tall man from Phantasm.
This is great radio.
That doesn't look anything like him.
I just wanted-
He's
I
just
wanted
got a
it for-
long face.
No,
that
but
guy
look-
doesn't have jet black hair.
Yeah, because he's old. I'm saying this is like the
I
old.
guess.
It looks like if he was older, right? Come on,
I don't know.
hold it up to the camera. Let John and Chris see.
I can see
Oh,
it.
I could totally see that
Or
happening.
whatever.
The lines on the face and everything. And
Nick Cave is also very,
Here's a different picture.
like, He looks
I feel like he even looks
Gary
more
Newman.
like than that one.
Here's another one.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, John. What did you say about Nick Cave?
No, I said in that picture, Nick Cave kind of had Gary Newman vibes as well.
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, Gary Newman. Got a real radio face.
Yes, he did.
I would love it if a tall man from Phantasms sang Red Right Hand.
I would love it if Gary Newman was a fan of this show. And he's like, well, I'm not listening anymore now.
But
He knows what he looks like.
I bought several of your albums, Gary.
Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, they talked about that. They really, like, I don't know if we can stress enough that the entire previous chapter was just the character Davy explaining this article he read about a haunted gold mine, and it wouldn't fucking end. Like, it was like page after page after page of him talking about this thing, and like every time we thought, oh, that's got to be the end of this story, he'd be like, and then,
Yeah.
like, how long was this newspaper article?
Right? Yeah.
Slow news day. Chapter 4. Tracy and Paula were in the park. Rick had directed them there. He said, a place on a course that makes the hardy gasp. Had to be the top of the Soul Hill on the school's cross-country course. Okay. Place on a course that makes the hardy gasp. Oh, because you're running. I get it. The course was not located on campus, but in the only place in town that could even remotely be referred to as a garden spot. Actually, the park was not that bad. It had swings, 4 tennis courts, a few trees, and an artificial lake.
Yeah, this is not a public school.
It is not. The lake was made more artificial by the pink plastic swans that floated. Anchored would have been more accurate in its center. Last year, the city council had allotted funds to bring in 12 real ducks, only to have the birds fly west toward the ocean at the first heat wave. Smart birds.
Okay.
What? The fuck? Rick was waiting back at the car. His wheelchair wasn't too swift over the grass. Already, he was beginning to tire.
To tire.
I see what you did there.
Don't you sometimes feel that if God had intended for anyone to live here, he'd lower the flame? Paula asked as the two of them hiked toward the hill.
The flame?
I guess because it's hot?
Okay. I'm confused.
Sure.
We both just went, okay.
Okay. I like to think that growing up in Express will make me appreciate wherever it is I end up living, Tracy said. You must be looking forward to getting to Berkeley, Paula said. Yeah, it's going to be a long summer. I'm working the register and shelving books 6 days a week at the mall bookstore. That joint pays nothing. What do they give you? A quarter an hour above minimum, Tracy said. That's not very specific.
I know.
But I guess it is
evergreen.
Yeah. Minimum wage was $5 an hour when I started working.
Oh my god, it's probably like $3 when this book was written.
Yeah. How can you stand it? Why don't you come work with me? Emphysema and brain damage aren't worth another $1 an hour to me. Paula worked in a foam rubber factory.
What?
The fumes were incredible. I thought she just meant standing next to Paula while she's smoking.
That's
but
what
no,
I thought.
This child is working at a health hazard. She was there full time, even with school still on, 3 to 12 Monday through Friday.
What?
Many from her tough crowd
Where are the
also worked
parents?
there.
Wait, so the whole tough crowd works at the foam rubber
gang works at the foam rubber factory. What the fuck?
That's so funny.
They were all going to quit the same day, they said, the day they burned down the place. Did they not get like face masks or anything?
It sounds like
early
they
90s
don't.
now.
This was 89.
Also, good luck burning down foam rubber plant. I feel like that stuff is flame retardant.
I don't know. It's either flame retardant or super the opposite.
Or that one, yeah.
But again, these are children.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll find a way.
Paula snickered. Is that what's wrong with me? Why don't you come with me? Tracy asked suddenly. To where? Berkeley. What are you talking about? Paula said. I can't get into college, much less Berkeley. You used to devour books. Anyway, you don't have to go to school there. You can just live in the town. We could get a place together. I don't have to stay in the dorm if I don't want to. Rick could come with us. Come on, you must have some money saved. Are they talking about Berkeley, California?
That was okay. Yeah, sorry, I almost flung my headphones at you.
Be three little friends in California together.
You can't afford to live in California.
Yeah. Paula spit out her gum and reached for a cigarette. Not a cent. Paula, what have you done with your last 20 paychecks?
20?
I have expensive habits. Don't BS me. I hand my paychecks over to Harv and he lets me sit on the back of his bike, Paula said, lighting her cigarette and blowing a cloud of smoke into the smoggy sky. Harv was the boy she hung out with now. He was one of the few guys in the gang who had a motorcycle. He had a great body and leather boots and a personality that had about as much going for it as a piece of stale salami.
What's he doing with her money?
Yeah, why is she, what?
I'm confused.
Motorcycle repair, obviously. Tracy viewed him as another way for Paula not to have to think about Joe. You disgust me, Tracy said.
Hang on, so she's working full fucking time. Full time.
At the
and
foam
going
rubber
to school
factory.
at the foam rubber factory.
And like
going to
paying
school,
this guy to date her.
And just be like, here, Harv, here's all of my fucking money. I work full time. Please let me ride on the back of your motorcycle. Paula, you're not dumb. You're just messed up.
No.
But like...
Well, she can be two things.
Yeah. Paula.
She can be grieving and dumb.
All right.
You disgust me, Tracy said. At least you could think of Rick before saying no. At least he could get into Berkeley. Paula looked in the direction of the lake and the perpetually smiling swans. I think, she said softly, the doctors could be even more expensive there. Tracy stopped dead in her tracks. What happened to your dad's insurance? It lapsed. That happens when you don't pay the premium. You've got to be kidding. Rick's uninsured? You can't afford his doctor bills on what you make. You're right there, sister. Can you get some other insurance, Tracy asked?
She's working full time. Does the foam rubber factory not offer
benefits? This next line. Ooh. Can you get some other insurance, Tracy asked? They only give health insurance to healthy people.
Oof. Oh, America.
Oh,
How come your parents let it lapse?
This town is full of deadbeat parents.
It really is Twin Peaks.
It is. Because they're uncaring, ignorant bastards, Paula said. Do you have any other questions? No, I'm sorry. Paula threw down her cigarette and ground it out in the grass. So am I. Suddenly she put a hand to her head, covering her eyes. Christ. Paula, Tracy said, going to put an arm around her. Paula waved her away. It's too hot for that crap, she said, taking down her hand. Her cheeks were not damp, but her eyes were red. He's sick, Tracy. He won't be going to college.
Jesus.
Damn.
He won't be leaving here, so neither will I. How sick is sick? I asked the doctor that same question. I was waiting for him to say how Rick could end up incapacitated for a few years. And you know what he told me? No. Paula chuckled without humor. He said he could die. Can you believe that? Paula began to speak, then stopped. I do, she said. How long did he give him? A year? 3 years? They don't know. But muscular dystrophy doesn't have to be fatal. There are many cases where people live full lives. I guess this isn't one of those cases.
This is really fun.
God.
Tracy was having trouble accepting the news. That was the problem, though. She could see Rick's health was failing, but it was so much easier to focus on his strength than weaknesses. Inspiration porn!
Yay! Just feel good out of it.
So what if he missed a couple of days of school a week? He got A's on all of his tests.
Just like a good boy.
Maybe they'll find a cure soon, Tracy said. Something will come up. Joe used to tell me things like that. Paula shook her head. Nothing will come up. It never does. They walked the remainder of the distance to the hilltop in awkward silence. It was a steep incline. The runners must have dreaded it. Neither Tracy nor Paula was surprised to see Rick had been right about the spot being point number 3 on Mr. Partridge's list. The kid was making the two of them feel like spare luggage. Okay. There was no one else around. They had to be in first place. Their spirits lifted when they realized they might all be flying to Hawaii together. Idiots. It's not real. Tracy wished there were 4 of them going to Hawaii. It had killed her seeing Carl walk with Ceci. Tracy, you gotta fucking get over it. This time, the item was a white sock.
Gross.
The box held a dozen of them and had the words, "White sock!" printed on the side. There was also the next clue. Unlike the others, it did not read like the second half of a sentence and said, quote, "That boy is our last hope." Wait, this is Star Wars.
Yep.
It said, "That boy is our last hope." And then, "No, there is another." That's from fucking Empire Strikes Back.
Maybe they have like a nerdy video store or something.
There's another.
That was good.
Thank you. Thank you. I've only spent my entire life doing that.
That boy is our last hope.
What if that's how that scene ended?
Mine?
Just written out on the paper.
No, mine.
Yeah. I love how when you first meet Yoda, he's just a weird little creep. He's just a little asshole.
Yeah.
Such a weirdo.
He's such a weirdo. And then they're like, "Nah, he's old and wise." No, he's not. He's a fucking weirdo. Who wrote these things? Paula complained. "Those lines sound familiar to me," Tracy said. "Are you serious?" "I am." "How does this go with the line, 'the finest selection'?" "Give me a few minutes," Tracy said. Now I'm actually trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Finest selection and Star Wars Skywalker.
Play along at home, kids.
Can you figure it out? Write in podcast@Cactus Rodeo if you know the answer.
Paula stuffed one of the socks in a pocket. Let's get back to Rick before Mr. Tom and his gang shows. They started back down the hill. "Why are you giving Tom such a hard time?" Tracy asked. "He seems like a nice guy." "A hard time? I thought I was flirting with him." "Right, sure. Honestly," Paula smiled, "he's sort of cute." That's baffling. I don't even remember what was happening there. The park and the town library shared the same parking lot. Tracy owned a rebuilt red Camaro that she thought was a steal at the time of purchase, but now realized had been a ripoff. Aw, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
She could climb in it at home and drive the 2 miles to the bookstore where she worked, and the gas gauge would drop a quarter of a tank. The engine was making funny noises. She was afraid to take it into the station and hear the bad news. Of course, if she had the nerve to ask him, Carl would probably fix it for free. Probably not, though, because he doesn't want to fuck you, and he works there, and that's how he makes his living.
His dad would probably be like, "Charge her."
Yeah. They had left Rick in the front seat of the Camaro beneath a shady tree. I was hoping they didn't drag him up that hill, but they didn't. I don't think they said.
They left the window down for him.
Well, it's a Camaro. There's probably no roof. You know?
Oh, yeah.
The car was still there, but he was gone. They assumed he'd had to use the bathroom in the library. Being crippled, finding a bathroom he could get into and out of was often a major production.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
It is a major production. But also, I'm assuming he just has to pee.
I probably...
So that's why you have a urinal in your backpack, guy.
Yeah.
At the very least, a Snapple bottle.
I've done that before. Like,
Yeah.
you're not a very good disabled guy. Rick, is what I'm saying. You're making a lot of work for yourself.
Well, he is still a child.
This is true.
Yes.
Children are historically stupid.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be smart. He's like the smartest one.
He is. He's smart.
Yeah,
guy.
and he's supposed to inspire us all by not making the bathroom a big production.
Yeah.
His legs don't work, but what a brain!
You know,
would
I've
never-
heard that so many times.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. No. No.
Well, thank you for laughing
Yeah.
at it instead of leaving.
Yeah.
He would never let Paula help him onto a toilet. The temperature dropped a respectable 40 degrees the instant they stepped inside the library. I thought she was going to say in the shade. I was like, Jesus.
40?
40 degrees.
How fucking hot is it?
I guess it's hot. Sighing with relief, they both headed straight for the drinking fountain, and when they were through gorging themselves on water, they waited outside the men's restroom for 10 minutes. Only Rick didn't show up. Then Tracy remembered the article Davy had been talking about. Although she and Paula had been keeping their distance, she had caught a lot of it.
I barely heard anything you just said because all I was thinking about was 40-degree difference. If it's 100 degrees
Hang on.
outside,
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, guys.
60 in the library.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Yeah. Brief pause.
Brief pause.
He might have ordered a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
That's so specific. Why do you think it's pizza?
Well,
Yeah.
maybe his doorbell rang.
But why pizza?
But why pizza?
What if it's tacos?
He likes pizza.
You don't know that.
And I'm, at any given time of day, I'm thinking about
You're just thinking
pizza.
about pizza, yeah.
That's like me, but with sushi.
It's like me, but with tacos.
Yeah.
I think about those things, too.
You too.
Was it pizza?
Was it pizza?
Oh, wait.
No, it's protein shakes and a bunch of other not fun 39-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
I used to buy fun things from Amazon, and now it's just like, oh, great, more supplements.
Oh yeah.
I just bought cheese knives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
For
See, that's
specifically
fun.
for soft cheeses like brie,
Yeah.
goat cheese.
No, I did treat myself to the volume 1 of the Bowery Boys,
Oh, nice.
because I live on the edge.
That's what Top Cat was based on, right?
That Top Cat was Sergeant Boko.
Oh. One of them was Bowery Boys. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I was just gonna say, a 40-degree difference, even if it's 100 degrees outside,
Yeah.
that would mean it was 60 degrees in the light. That's too cold.
Maybe it's 105 degrees outside.
I'm thinking
65.
desert
Maybe
town.
Christopher Pike didn't do his research.
Makes sense if it's a desert
Maybe it's
town.
Celsius.
Why would it be Celsius?
I don't know.
Even if it
thinking
was
desert
Celsius, that would
town.
still be crazy.
Express, we had that whole discussion about gullies versus gulches. It's a desert
Yeah.
town.
It is.
Oh, it's
desert town.
definitely a desert town. I'm just saying a 40-degree difference is a really, really crazy amount of degrees for it to drop going
It
at,
is.
like, the AC must be fucking nuts. Okay, sorry, that's all.
Chris's turn.
Oh. She'd found the story intriguing. She told Paula they'd probably find Rick in the back searching for a reference to Volta, whatever that is.
I don't remember what that was. If it was
Mrs.
anything.
Farley met them at the front desk and confirmed her hunch. She was a big brunette on the gray side of 40.
Oh, man!
There was a persistent rumor going around town that Mrs. Farley had been a
He's a
professional
mean
wrestler,
man.
when Tracy knew for a fact she had been a professional roller skater. Okay.
I'm obsessed with Mrs. Farley,
That's
Oh,
the
wait,
book
no,
I want
Rollers,
to read.
was she like a
a derby girl.
Derby girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Holy
You're going to love her
shit.
even more with this next line. She loved books, however, and if she saw you reading one, there was a good chance she would love you too.
Oh my God, Mrs. Farley.
I'm in love. She was only too happy to lead them to a back corner of the library where
Yeah,
Rick
she
had
was.
already buried himself beneath a pile of old papers. Rick was one of Mrs. Farley's prize people.
Wow.
He won't even tell me what he's looking for, she said, shaking her head, but looking down upon him fondly.
That's
Rick
what she
caught
sounds
her
like.
Rick caught their eyes briefly and smiled back up at her. It's because I don't know, he said. But if it has to do with local history, Mrs. Farley insisted, you can waste a lot of time searching for something I could direct you to in minutes. I'm a really good librarian. But if things don't go as I plan, Rick said, and I'm later arrested, then you could be prosecuted as an accomplice in a crime. The less you know, the better. Mrs. Farley laughed at his remark. Then someone rang the bell at the front desk and she excused herself.
Was she on roller skates?
Probably. Why don't you let her help you, Paula asked when they were alone. You heard what Davy said? He asked. Yes, Paula said. Tracy nodded. Well, I haven't been able to find the article he described, Rick said.
Maybe he was just making shit up because he's an annoying little Alex P.
or
Keaton
also
type.
a vampire.
That'd be hilarious if he was just making that up.
Yeah.
And I've checked all the local papers back a month. He frowned. I suppose it's the people he possibly read about the story in an LA paper. Let's worry about that later, Paula said. You were right about the hill on the cross-country course. We have got to keep going. The next clue said, in a moment, Rick interrupted, reaching for a thin, parched newspaper. Let me show you what I did find. This paper is dated June 6, 1862.
What? Is that even a year?
Okay. Why is that just in a library? Why is it on my microfiche?
Right?
Yeah.
Why do they have the physical copy?
It's falling apart in my hands.
It contains an article about Volta. There really was a gold mine by that name. It's located not too far from here. Now, I haven't anticipated the entire article, but you can already see that some of what Davy said was true, and some was false. For example, Rick, Paula said, plucking the paper from his hand, we're talking about Hawaii here. Volta can wait, all right? Rick hesitated. Fine. What was the next item? A white sock. One or two? We took only one, Paula said. It said a white sock on one side of the box. How many were there in the box? Rick asked. 12, Tracy said. Rick nodded. Then he probably did the right thing.
Rick.
Cool.
Rick!
What's the next clue? 2 lines in quotes, Tracy said, and told him the lines. What do you think? They sounded familiar to me. I remember. She suddenly stopped. Yoda! Huh? Paula said. That Muppet from Star Wars? From The Empire Strikes Back, the second Star Wars.
Tracy said excited. Sorry.
Tracy said excited.
I got so excited to talk about Star Wars. When Luke Skywalker left to go fight Darth Vader, Obi-Wan's it's one word in the book, and it's
That's what's
Jesus.
bothering you.
yes, it's what's bothering me. It's not spelled right. Fucking Christopher Pike didn't do his
Obi-Wan.
research. Obi-Wan. Yeah, it looks like Obi-Wan.
He's trying to avoid a copyright infringement.
When Luke Skywalker left to go fight Darth Vader, Obi-Wan's ghost said to Yoda, "That boy is our last hope." And Yoda said, "No, there is another," Paula finished. "Come on, let's go."
You don't think she did the voice?
Yeah. No, not Paula.
She's too cool for
She's
that.
way too cool for that. Yeah.
She's played by
Tracy said-
Juliette Lewis.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
Rick cleared his throat. Excuse me, where are we going? Tracy and Paula stopped dead in their tracks. He has a point there, Tracy muttered. All right, what are we missing? Let's look at how this clue relates to number 4, Rick said, pulling the paper out of his shirt pocket. The finest selection, he quoted, then thought for a moment. I agree the lines you mentioned must be in reference to the Star Wars movie.
Is he the comic book nerd?
Yes.
Comic shop nerd, whatever his name is.
Worst scavenger hunt ever. But since that movie hasn't played in town in many years, the clue must be pointing us to a video cassette of it, or better yet, toward a video store. I'm also
That's
realizing.
what I said.
I'm also realizing I'm doing the kid from Wet Hot American Summer of the you've cast a level 5 charm spell
Yes.
on me. He paused. What's the name of that video rental on Bennett Street? Movie Marvels, Tracy said, bouncing up on her toes. And they've got this big sign out front that says they've got, quote, the finest selection. She leaned over and kissed Rick on the forehead. Mwah, you're incredible. Rick beamed. A hug and a kiss in the space of 2 hours. This must be my lucky day. He's definitely that kid for Wet Hot American Summer. He gestured to the old paper Paula still had in her hand. I want to finish reading that. Mrs. Farley won't let you check it out. I don't know what voice I had to do for Paula. Paula said,
Juliette Lewis.
She doesn't sound like anything.
Just imagine you're
sounds a
chewing
little
gum and
southern,
smoking
kinda.
a cigarette at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna sit here for an hour while Carl's team catches up with us.
Perfect, Juliette Lewis.
Thank you. Rick held out his hand. Give it to me.
Jesus Christ.
I need to write down voices because I keep forgetting what our voices are.
What are you going to do? Tracy asked. Sit on it, Rick said, leaning forward
What
and
is he,
sliding it
Fonzie?
under his rump.
I'm sorry.
Rump.
I'm sorry.
She'll see it, Tracy said. The paper stuck out the sides. She won't even look. Rick said, people trust the handicapped. I bet a paraplegic could walk in and steal the Mona Lisa from the Louvre and not a soul would notice. Didn't someone using a wheelchair, like, throw something at the Mona Lisa?
Oh.
Or was, like, someone pretending to be an old person?
Oh, someone dressed up as an old woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like,
So-
And,
What
like,
this-
threw soup on it or
Yeah.
something.
So what this book is telling me to do is
Crime.
start a Ponzi scheme because people trust the handicapped.
Yes.
Sweet.
People will
Awesome.
trust you.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
That would be something to see, Tracy said, getting the pun. What?
Or just start shoplifting.
What's the pun?
is there a pun?
Because he said walk in? I don't fucking know.
I
Tracy's
don't
dumb.
like it.
Oh boy, Rick smuggled the 19th century newspaper outside without difficulty, but then Paula snatched it from under his bum. Now we have bum in play.
Cool.
And threw
So
it in the
you-
Camaro's trunk out
Bum
of reach.
and-
Okay, I have a problem. I have a problem
Uh-huh.
with this, okay?
Yes.
He's got muscular dystrophy, right?
Mhm.
So you can't put weight on your legs if you have muscular dystrophy.
So how'd he get it under his bum? And
I have
or
no
rump?
idea, and it's gonna bother me.
Maybe
think
he
he,
like
propped
lifted
himself
up
and was like, stuff it under there?
Paula shoved it under his butt.
How far advanced is he?
I don't
haven't
know. Well, he's gonna
specified.
die in a year.
Yeah.
So
He could die in a year, then he wouldn't be able to. He shouldn't be outside then.
Oh,
he
God.
should be outside at 100 degrees doing a fucking scavenger
I'm
hunt.
doing a scavenger hunt.
But it's
Slash
the
finding
Partridge
a gold
Scavenger
mine.
Hunt,
Just
John.
rolling around in a Camaro.
Yeah.
I can say all of these things because I'm a real live disabled person, just like in the movies.
Oh, God, let's see. She wanted him concentrating on getting them to Hawaii, she said. Making them millionaires could wait. Rick pouted all the way to the video store. Movie Marvels was a brand new store, and it was neat. Who wrote this page?
What is he
I
from
feel
the
like
50s now?
A 9-year-old wrote this page.
Yeah.
Besides the finest selection of videos in town, it had tons of records, cassettes, and CDs. Of course, very few people at Express could afford a CD player, even though all their amenities are so expensive. So you'd think the town was rich, but whatever.
So
they wouldn't be selling too many of those.
So the people of the town are poor, but the town officials are like, let's import ducks.
Yeah.
And
It's
build
like
a
the town
lake.
from Roadhouse.
Turns out they migrate.
Yeah.
We thought
like
they
the
would
town
stay
from
here.
Yeah, we thought ducks lived in one lake forever and never moved.
No one
Town
told
run
us
by
ducks
rich
could fly.
What do you mean the ducks left? It's winter?
They had wonderful posters. The walls were covered with them. Paula was a particular fan of dead rock stars and had their faces and bodies plastered all over her bedroom.
Hell yeah, she did.
Tracy's favorites were the guitar legends like Hendrix, Clapton, Page, and Van Halen. She was a fair guitarist herself.
That's
Yet
new
since-
information.
I know.
I know, at first I was like,
Paula?
oh yeah, Paula.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, no, we did switch to Tracy.
What teenager's listening to Clapton?
I
In 1989,
I listened to a lot of music my dad liked
Mm-hmm.
when I was a teenager.
Racist
I did
teenagers.
too, but I'm just
wasn't a
saying
racist.
Clapton.
No, I know. I'm just saying Clapton's racist.
Well, Clapton is. Yet, since no one in Express was able to afford musical instruments
What the fuck?
either, she had never been in a band. How did she know? How'd she know she could play?
Yeah.
They don't have a music program?
None of this is lining up.
So is she the only one in town with a musical instrument? It was probably
there goes Tracy and her guitar.
It was probably just as well. The autobiographical footnote wouldn't have looked good on her application to medical school. You don't have to tell them you play guitar, but I don't really think they'd mind it. Naturally, because he was dead, Paula had long ago stolen her poster of Jimi Hendrix. Paula only likes the dead ones.
I'm gonna be the first musical doctor, and I'm gonna heal people with Van Halen.
With sweet guitar licks.
With sweet guitar licks. I'm sorry. Oh, it looks like your appendix is about to burst. Let me get in there.
I mean,
Meanwhile, Paula
R.I.P.
is like taking a drag of her cigarette and is just like, yeah, I'm obsessed with cool dead guys. What, you want to fight about it?
Yeah.
It was as cold inside the video store as it had been inside the library. The store manager waved to them as if he were expecting them, but he was with a customer and didn't speak to them. They hurried over to the videos and almost screamed when they found a plastic baggie taped to the shelf behind The Empire Strikes Back. Inside were a dozen thin gold chains and a folded typed page listing the contents of the baggie and containing the clue, I could have been a contender.
Okay.
Break out the...
What could that mean?
Break
Wait,
out
what
the
was the thing,
suntan
a
lotion,
gold
Paula
chain?
cheered, placing the gold chain over her neck. Not so fast, Rick warned. I don't know how this clue relates to at the best prices. Give yourself a minute, for God's sakes, Paula said, chuckling. But all the others I got right away, Rick said, disturbed.
Wait, I'm a little lost. Why are we comparing new clues to... What previous text are we comparing these new clues to? I don't remember at the best prices and all this other shit.
Rick's playing 5D chess.
Where did this other stuff come from?
Is that one of the future? It might be one of the future clues. I already forgot what all the clues were.
What are future clues?
No, clues are like the future steps because we already got all. We already got like
people.
I thought they had. I don't remember.
No, because they gave
they
you
got
clues.
a bunch of clues, and then each thing also has another.
Has
clue
more
on
clues.
It? Okay, God damn it.
Yeah. Sean,
All
what?
right.
I mean, people just trust the disabled, Bekah.
Rick's,
trust him.
Rick's just doing shenanigans.
Yeah.
They'll believe
I
whatever he
trust him.
says.
Ahem. Not so fast, Rick warned. I don't know how this clue relates to at the best prices. Give yourself a minute, for God's sakes, Paula said, chuckling.
Well, it sounds like it's probably one of those we buy your gold stores.
Oh, like a pawn shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a buy your
But
gold.
it says I
not
could
like
have been a
pawn shop.
contender, so I bet it relates to Raging Bull. It's like another movie
It's-
clue.
No, on the
Oh,
waterfront.
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's what
waterfront.
I meant. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, I don't fucking know. Let me stop pretending like I could ever solve a single one of these.
but all the
I don't do
others I
riddles.
got right away, Rick said, disturbed. Does this line ring a bell with either of you? No, Paula said. Tracy shook her head. It's been going too easily, Rick said, stretching his back and grimacing slightly. It'll come to you, Paula said. No, that's the thing, Rick said. I also know I can't know it without knowing something else first. And it's like, yeah, that's how most shit works.
Yeah.
Look, said Paula, don't pressure yourself. I bet Tom hasn't even put on his sock yet. We have time.
Oh,
Damn.
A half hour later, they had 30 minutes
Are you trying
less
to fuck
time.
Tom or not?
I don't think anyone's trying to fuck Tom.
The
Paula
fact
was
that
trying
this
to
smash
flirt with him.
cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A half hour later, they had 30 minutes less time, and Rick wasn't any closer to solving the riddle. It was then Carl and Tom strolled into the video store. They were alone, and Tracy was happy to see Carl, even though it might mean she wouldn't be going to Hawaii.
he smiled when he saw her, and he didn't often smile. We had a feeling we weren't in first place, Carl said. You're tied for first now. Isn't this fun? It's interesting, Carl said. He put his hand on his shoulder. How's my man? Rick looked embarrassed. To tell you the truth, I'm stuck. Look at this. He led Carl and Tom to the Star Wars video. Tom took a chain out of the baggie and put it over his head. He had yet to put the single white sock on. Carl
Why would
stayed
he
to
put
cool.
it on? They didn't put it on.
Yeah, they didn't stab themselves with a knife.
Does he like have it on his hand? Like
Carl stayed to cool. I don't want you to tell me what it means, Rick said. Just tell me if you get it. I don't get it. Where's Ceci and Davy? Paula asked Tom. Ceci wanted ice cream. They're across the street. I love ice cream, Paula said to Tom. Would you buy me a chewy chocolate cone?
chewy?
Chewy?
What?
What's
Ew.
chewy about it?
Ew, so it's undercooked?
Ew.
Ugh.
Just raw
Tom.
cone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom lowered his eyes. I don't have any money.
Oh God.
Are you serious?
What the fuck?
She asked in a slightly annoyed tone. Hey, old buddy, Carl said. You need to borrow a few dollars? I don't know. I wouldn't mind a strawberry shake, Rick remarked. Tracy ended up going for ice cream for everybody. She wasn't sure how that happened.
Oh. It's because you're a
Carl-
doormat, Tracy.
Carl and Rick wanted to discuss how they had cracked the previous riddles.
They also seemed hesitant to leave the latest clue in case another team arrived. They wanted to know who their competition was. And Paula and Tom... Tracy didn't know why Paula stayed to talk to him when all she was doing was making snide personal remarks that he didn't understand. Some flirting. But before...
The sigh.
But before Tracy could reach the ice cream parlor, she saw something that made her sick to her stomach. Ceci and Davy. They were sitting across the street in the front seat of Carl's truck. Ceci had 2 ice cream cones in her hands. Davy didn't appear to have any. His mouth was nevertheless fully occupied.
With what? Speaking, right?
He was kissing Ceci. On the lips. She was kissing him back. Sort of.
So
Hang on.
okay,
In between kisses, she would hungrily lick both her cones.
All right, so I stepped away
Just
for
like
a
this.
second.
Oh my God, Chris! You suddenly right at the incest.
Chris!
Are the cones like?
We got to the
their
incest.
boobs or,
No, they're actual.
No,
ice
actual
cream
cones.
like ice cream cones?
Yes!
Yes. Chewy chocolate ones.
Chewy
Oh, and this
chocolate
is the
cones.
brother and sister.
This is the brother and sister!
Of course, it
They're-
would not be a Christopher Pike book
So,
without incest.
she's double fisting ice cream.
Yes.
He's kissing her, and she's kissing him, and then go like...
Well, Jonathan, have you ever had a chewy chocolate cone?
No, but I'm sure it does make you want to kiss your brother.
Yeah, they're vampires too. Clearly.
But they're out of the sun. It's so hot.
Well, we don't know. They might be ghouls.
I feel
They
disgusting.
might be.
Okay, was George R.R. Martin, like, influenced by Christopher Pike the whole time?
That would be amazing.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm gonna...
Have we read a Pike book that has not had incest?
I think the last one didn't.
What was the last one?
What was the last one? Master of Murder. That one didn't have incest.
It didn't have actual incest.
Oh, no, okay.
But it did say something like what the girl he had
Oh.
a crush on looked like his sister,
Oh,
or like
God,
was
yeah.
almost as beautiful
No,
as
it's in
his
every
sister,
one.
and his sister
Oh.
was like 10.
God, yes. You're
He
right.
said something
Pike
gross
read
about his
Flowers in the Attic and was like, this is the formula for a popular book.
So it went Flowers in the Attic, Pike, George R. R.
Jared
Martin.
Yeah. Fuck. Chapter 5. Oh, I want to give
I
up.
know. I already want another drink, and I'm not even done this drink.
Kind of want
where
some
I
ice cream.
went.
Beside
during the last
myself.
bit.
No.
Carl was about to go looking for Tracy. She had been gone half an hour, and he was worried about her. She was outside vomiting for 30 minutes. Neither Ceci nor Davy had seen her at the ice cream parlor, but just as he was reaching for the video store door, he saw her through the glass, crossing the road with ice cream. He stood by the door and waited instead of going to help her like a gentleman. Where did you get to? He asked, opening the door for her a moment later. She smiled quickly. It was her trademark, quick smiles. She was such a pleasant girl. In all the years he had known her, he had not once seen her anything but friendly. But this smile, it was a trifle too quick. Something was bothering her. There was a line, she said.
There was a line. I wasn't vomiting, you were.
There was a line. Here's your fucking ice cream. I don't want to do a scavenger hunt anymore.
And I'll never eat ice cream again.
He could see the inside of the ice cream parlor from where he stood. There wasn't a customer in it. He let the door close, and the cool air surrounded them. Tracy looked a tad pale, and her hands trembled as she gave him the bag. What's wrong? He asked. Nothing.
No, I don't want to read anymore. I want to stop now. You look upset. I'm fine. I got you a chocolate shake. They were out of vanilla. Is that all right? He glanced in the bag and frowned. It looks like you got 4 chocolate shakes. Doesn't Tom like chocolate? Rick and Paula do. They'll eat anything, but I can take them back if you guys don't like them. No, Carl said. It's just that I thought Rick wanted... Never mind. As long as you're all right. I was worried about you. You were?
Were you?
I'm worried about you. I mean, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Everything's all right. Where are Ceci and Davy?
What is happening?
He gestured to the back of the store. Over there. Where else
This
would
isn't really
they...
about ice cream.
Yeah. I was just wondering is all. Did you get yourself anything? No. She looked past him. My stomach's bothering me. This is hilarious.
This is awesome.
Carl handed out the ice creams. Ceci took Tom's shake. She said she was starving. Tom didn't seem to mind. That's rude of her. Carl tried to pay Tracy for the ice cream, but she wouldn't hear of it. Carl felt like Rick, stuck. No matter how many times he... I don't know. Carl's a dick.
Carl is a dick.
No matter how many times he racked his brain, he couldn't relate the 2 clues. I've never even seen On the Waterfront. And I still knew that was a thing.
It's really good.
Should watch
I
it.
highly recommend On the Waterfront.
I think I saw it in high school. I saw it a very long time ago. I remember being bored as fuck, but that was because I was young. So I'm sure it's good.
Maybe it's not fun for teenagers.
No, it's definitely not fun for teenagers. Well, not us. And John probably loved it as a teenager.
I did love it as a pretentious...
John probably watched it at 6 years old and was like, this is great.
And he's like, I could have been a contender.
Yeah, I mean, I was a very pretentious teenager. So yeah, loved it. Big fan.
Surprisingly, Davy didn't appear to be straining over the matter when it was Davy who had been largely responsible for cracking the previous clue about the hill on the cross-country course. He seemed content to tease Rick about his inability to solve the riddle. If you don't win this thing, Davy said to Rick, your reputation will be ruined.
They probably won't even let you speak at graduation. I was just kissing my sister. If you win this thing, everybody will know you cheated, and your reputation will be secure. They'll probably flunk you and let you serve another term as senior class president. Touché, Davy said, laughing. He slapped Rick hard on the back, almost knocking him from his chair.
Neat.
Cool.
That's not ad-libbed. That's just what the guy
how cool
wrote.
he is.
You kill me.
I'm glad.
I
Rick
hope that's
muttered.
foreshadowing and Rick does kill him.
Yeah.
Straightening himself. I went looking for that article you told me about. I couldn't find it.
Keep looking, Davy said.
What paper was it in again?
I told you, last Sunday's Times.
I think that was it. It wasn't. Davy stared at him.
Did you find anything on Volta?
Rick stared back at him.
No.
Davy smiled.
Keep looking,
He repeated. The big breakthrough didn't come for another 30 minutes. Even at that late an hour, it was getting close to 1 o'clock. No other team had put in an appearance. Carl was frankly amazed that nobody else in the school had solved the first 3 riddles. For all he knew, the others could be stuck on clue number 1. Rick probably should have been given sole credit for solving the blasted thing, although Tracy was the one who pinpointed the specific answer. They were all standing around squeezing their brain synapses, which is a phrase, except for Ceci, who had gone for another shake. When suddenly Rick asked his sister to open the video store front door so he could get a breath of fresh air.
It was his inability to hide his excitement and the fact that Express had no fresh air outside of an air-conditioned building that let the cat out of the bag. When he came back in, he was grinning from ear to ear. Plus, he didn't ask Tracy and Polly to leave with him for another location. He just rolled over and started going through the records and the poster racks. That it was them, the truth dawned on Carl. The next location is in this store, he said. Really? Rick asked, trying to sound casual, his face falling slightly. That's it. It has to be. The finest selection at the best prices. They go together. Rick nodded. That's why I went outside. I wanted to check the big sign in the window. It says that. The connection between the lines was so obvious, I can't believe you didn't see it right away. You're too hard on yourself, Carl said. This clue must be the line from another movie. That's likely. Unfortunately, it's not a movie I've seen. Dude, you're in a wheelchair. Like, watch more movies.
Can't they just bribe the guy that works there?
Right?
With ice cream, chewy ice cream.
Ew.
You're too... That's likely. Unfortunately, it's not a movie I've seen. We go through all the videos in the store, Carl said. I was going to do that as soon as you guys got bored and moved on, Rick said. Wait a second, Tracy said, showing the first signs of life since she returned from the ice cream parlor. I know this movie. So do you, Carl. It played at the silver screen when we were freshmen. Shh, Paula said. Don't tell him. He's going to know in a few minutes anyway, if they peek behind all the videos in the store.
Tracy said, don't you remember, Carl? That's the night we bumped into each other. Oh, Tracy. It was 11:32 p.m. Carl nodded. Yeah, it was a Sunday night. They used to play old classics then. He snapped his fingers. Marlon Brando and On the Waterfront. He put on the accent Brando used in the movie. Remember the night in the garden? You came down to my dressing room and you said, kid, this ain't your night. We're going for the price on Wilson. Is that a good Marlon Brando?
Perfect.
No.
Thank you. You remember that? This ain't your night. I'm doing the whole fucking movie. Jesus. My night. I could have taken Wilson apart. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. Tracy laughed. That was a great movie. Yeah, Carl said, shut up. I'm going to do the rest of it.
Maybe that will finally give Tracy the ick and she can get over Carl.
She's not giving her... Nothing has given her the ick except seeing a brother and sister kiss.
That's a low bar, though.
Yeah, Carl said. Yeah, we had a lot of fun that night, I guess. Tracy stopped and smiled. Yeah. Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors.
I was getting that vibe, too, with her obsession with Carl.
Oh, yeah. Carl. He's a doctor. Rick was displeased. I think it's a disgrace Mr. Partridge chose a movie from another era. I agree, Davy said. That old geezer. They hurried to the appropriate video. Sure enough, there was a typed paper pinned to the shelf behind the store's single copy of the movie. Carl wondered what they would have done had someone checked out the movie earlier in the day. The next item was another white sock. The socks weren't actually on the shelf. The paper directed them to a cardboard box hidden beneath the cassette racks. It was weird. These socks were all wet.
A wet sock?
Okay, that's...
Yep. Tom didn't seem to mind. Poor simple Tom. He took one from the box and the other one from his pocket that he had obtained earlier at the school stump, and he put both of them on.
I have never written so many notes in all caps.
I mean, how is putting them on part of it?
Just incredulously.
Wait. Okay. Tom is the guy with the traumatic brain
Yes.
injury.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Why don't they help this man?
No one cares about Tom. John, it's awful.
That's just how he is.
Yeah, John is
so sad.
This
He's
whole
a sweet soul.
this whole book has been like Tom was a star football player until the accident, and now everyone's like, oh, that's just Tom. Ignore him. I'm like, fuck, get him help.
That's a lot of people going, yeah, he does that.
Oh God.
You have a feeling that, like, Buzz Bissinger's gonna visit him in prison one day? Like,
Oh my
wait,
God.
that makes it even sadder because they just quoted the line from On the Waterfront, and Tom could have been a contender.
Oh God.
Oh, Tom.
Oh no, Tom could have been a
And
contender.
now he's wearing one wet sock.
If these episodes had titles, it would be Tom could have been a contender. Now he's wearing one wet sock. He didn't seem to mind. A fine sight he made without any shoes to go with them. I forgot he doesn't have fucking shoes on.
No.
So he's just gonna
or
walk
a shirt.
So he's just gonna.
Presumably, he still has no shirt on.
So he's just walking around in socks. That's worse than bare feet.
Socks, shorts, no shirt.
One wet
Probably
sock.
getting sunburned.
One
Someone-
wet sock.
Call like social services. Fuck. Sexy legs, Paula said, mocking him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this book is fucking crazy.
Thanks, Tom said. The next clue was as strange as the wet socks. It read, for terrible lizards. A metal grave for terrible lizards, Paula said. It sounds like a heavy metal album. Could this be
T-Rex?
Could this one be in the store too? Yes, T-Rex. To be honest,
The
No,
T-Rex
dinosaur.
T-Rex album.
it could be a T-Rex album.
No,
Yeah.
Dinosaur. Dinosaur is Latin for terrible lizard. Not
thought-
just T-Rex.
I thought
No.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Wait. Doesn't Tyrannosaurus Rex mean terrible
That's
lizard?
what I thought. You could Google it.
I am gonna
I have to
Google
read
it.
this book.
Or thunder lizard.
Thunder
What?
lizard.
Is that a Pokemon?
Could be.
Could this one be in the store too? I doubt Mr. Partridge would use the same trick twice, Rick said, yawning. Tracy put her hands on his shoulders and whispered something in his ear. He quickly shook his head. Carl assumed she asked if he needed to rest. Carl hoped the hunt wasn't putting too much pressure on him, even though that's what all of them have been doing this entire book. It was true what Davy had said. Everyone expected Rick to solve the riddles first. Sorry, I have a tickle in my
Oh
throat.
fuck. Chris is correct. Dinosaur is Greek. Comes from the Greek words for terrible lizard.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus means tyrant lizard.
Yeah. Thought I'd be wrong about dinosaurs?
Oh.
You
They-
would doubt me on that? I don't think we can
my
be friends
God.
anymore.
They bid the video store goodbye and went
Still be
outside. Davy walked across the street to get Ceci. Carl had never seen a girl in his life who could eat so much and not get fat.
Oh my god.
He'd been enjoying her
awful.
company. She was like a kid in many ways. She had incredible energy.
She had several tapeworms.
It's almost like she was a fucking alien, which she definitely is.
Oh, new theory.
Also, in his dream, a lizard came out of the sky, so I'm just assuming it's like an alien lizard situation. The most trivial things seemed to give her tremendous pleasure. For example, she'd been so taken with the artificial swans at the park that they'd had to restrain her from wading into the lake to have a closer look. Tom went and sat in the back of Carl's truck. He didn't seem to mind the sun beating down on him or the sting of the hot metal beneath his bare legs. Get him a
Tom,
blanket or something to sit
help
on.
this
He's gonna
poor
have
boy.
blisters.
God. He's like, I
Fuck.
don't mind. I'm
Paula
fine.
helped Rick into Tracy's Camaro, stowing his wheelchair in the trunk. Carl had heard Tracy's car sputtering around the parking lot at school. He had been meaning to tell her to bring it by his shop. It sounded in dire need of a ring job. Of course, she had offered to stop by, and he told her not to bother. I thought we could all get past
Nope.
that.
No. Why would you think that?
I'm sorry.
Why
None of
would
us
you
know what
think we
that
could get
is.
past that?
Oh.
He supposed he didn't want her meeting the jerks he worked with. Those guys would have tried to paw her. A few had been in the shop 20 years and had had brake fluid between their ears. God help him if he followed in their footsteps. It's been an exciting day, Tracy said as he walked her to her car. And we're only half done, Carl said. Say goodbye to Tom for me, Paula called from the backseat of the Camaro. Tell him he should drink hard liquor. It would give him an excuse.
What?
What does that
What?
mean?
Excuse to what?
Oh, it means that if he was a horrible alcoholic, we would understand why he was always shirtless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Don't mind
Yeah.
her,
Good one,
Tracy
Paula.
said.
Hey, Paula, go to therapy.
Also, I think Rick last time we were doing like Marvin the Martian.
That was
voice.
Davey.
Okay.
We were doing for Davey. We were doing
Oh, I
like,
forgot.
oh, hello, like that. Type.
All right. Don't mind her, Tracy said. See you, Carl, Rick said. Any ideas about the lizards? A few, Rick said. I'll write you about them from Honolulu. Tracy opened her door. I guess this is goodbye. Forever. For the time being, Carl said. Who knows? Maybe our paths will cross again before the day is over. We're doing the same scavenger hunt. She smiled.
So I don't like you at all.
She smiled. In a place without a beginning, without an end, where the waters flow hidden beneath an empty sky. For no reason, the line sent a cold chill through his body. Or maybe it was just the chocolate shake he'd drunk. He glanced across the street. Davy had hold of Ceci and was dragging her out of the ice cream parlor. I was about to say Paula.
How much ice cream has this bitch eaten?
A lot.
Maybe they're aliens.
I think they might be aliens
They
now.
are.
Them and Partridge.
Yeah.
It's possible, he replied, thinking how some said anything was possible. What? Okay.
What? What?
Now, okay, it's just occurring to me again. Clint McElroy has read this entire book because of us. He read about those brothers and sisters kissing.
no!
He
Yeah.
knew that.
He
That's
knew
in
that.
his head, and it's
And
our
he
fault.
knew what we were in for.
He knew what we were in for.
It's not our fault. He didn't have to read this book.
But also, like, this is one sentence. It's possible, he replied, thinking how some said anything was possible.
Gotta get that word count in.
That is awful. He didn't believe those people. Too many times the past sabotaged the future before it could be. Okay, so how do you go from thinking how some said anything was possible to too many times the past sabotaged the future before it could be? It had a momentum all its own.
God.
Either that or he had too long a memory.
You're 18.
It's like, are you a good writer or a bad writer?
He's a great
Okay.
writer.
Pick a lane.
So I'm listening to Fitzgerald's Tender as the Night right now.
Mm-hmm. As
And
one
about
does.
About every third sentence, I'm like, wow, what an amazing sentence.
Mm-hmm.
You're really good at this. This is the opposite of that. He was not saying, you gotta express your ideas clearly, Christopher.
Yeah.
Carl?
He was like, oh, I'll express my ideas clearly. Incest.
You said Fitzgerald, correct?
Yes.
Do you think all the good parts were written by Zelda?
No.
And all the bad parts were written by him?
No, he just basically ripped off their entire lives for, you know. But he's one of my sacred cows, so I'll defend him until, you know. It's not healthy. Anyway.
Gotta read him one of these days.
Yeah,
He's great.
You should. I think I found out recently you never read The Great Gatsby and yelled at you a lot.
Yeah.
Again, you should.
I know.
Oh, he went to private school. They don't like introducing those kinds of ideas there.
Yeah, we had to read fucking what's that
Beowulf?
bitch's name? No, the guy who wrote The Pearl. He's really depressing. He's a depressing American author.
Steinbeck.
Steinbeck. Yeah, we had to read John Steinbeck.
I read Steinbeck too. He's really good.
I fucking hate John Steinbeck.
Oh, Jesus.
He might be a good writer. I honestly have no idea. What I remember is reading.
I just love, like, the only thing that I'm completely jingoistic about is that America has the best writers. So, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Carl Tracy said suddenly. Are you having fun? Sassy had asked the same question. Yes, are you? She smiled and brushed a strand of red hair off her cheek. She had shiny hair. It was nothing.
How does he grow?
Hang on,
It was-
the next sentence.
It was nothing to get lost in, like Sessy's what? But it looked as if it would be soft to touch.
That's some hair I could get lost in. Is that a thought anyone's ever had?
Not me.
Axl Rose.
Touche.
But it looked as if it would be soft to touch. He had almost brushed away the hair for her. She probably wouldn't have minded. Her hug caught him off guard. Take care of yourself, she whispered in his ear as her arms went around him, but she didn't give him a chance to hug her back. She held him for only an instant before she was scooting behind the wheel of the Camaro. She would hardly look at him then. She seemed to be having trouble getting the key in the ignition. He didn't know what to do.
She's so
what to say.
traumatized.
So he did nothing.
I'm so glad he didn't brush the hair off her face because that would have just reignited her. Like, she does love me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Then the Camaro started and Rick waved goodbye and Carl waved back. They left in a hurry and Carl was sorry to see them go. Yet he was also relieved that they were gone. And that, too, he did not understand. He wasn't in competition with them. He would have loved to see Rick and Tracy get a chance to visit Hawaii. He simply felt that they would be better off not hanging around him for the rest of the day. What?
What?
His sentences are too long with too many commas and shit.
It doesn't. None of it makes sense. We're
much
reading
more are we
nonsense.
One
words.
more. John, you can read this page too, since it's a new chapter.
Okay. Chapter 6. Carl and his party solved the next riddle by driving around town and throwing out whatever came to mind, regardless of how ridiculous it was. They went through every lizard connection they could think of. And if the truth be known, they didn't think of very many. Carl got fixated early on the idea of lizard shoes and dragged them to several shoe stores
Excuse me.
before giving into the general consensus that Express didn't carry such exotic footwear.
Like
yeah,
alligator
Carl's an
skin
idiot.
shoes, like
if
boots.
if people can't afford cheap instruments, they can't afford lizard shoes.
Okay, but
So I really hope they bought Tom a fucking pair of like.
oh, they went to a shoe
rack
store.
Shoes while they were there.
They definitely didn't. Of course they didn't. They went to a shoe store looking for lizard shoes, and they didn't have any. And they're like, "All right, come on, Tom." And Tom was like, "Step, squick, because he's wearing a wet sock. But also, they're in a
anyone
desert
else's
town.
feet wet?
There's no way that they don't have fucking like snakeskin boots.
Are we sure this isn't like a Tim and Eric book?
An early book by Tim and Eric. Yeah.
Eventually, though, they hit upon the idea of the most terrible of all lizards, the dinosaurs.
You got there.
Davy brought them up. After that, they were cooking.
You idiots! I figured that out last chapter.
Dinosaurs, Carl mused, pulling his truck to the side of the road beneath a shady tree, wishing for the 100th time that he had air conditioning. The back of his shirt would not have been soaked with sweat had it not been as dry as it was hot.
That's
The
a terrible environment.
Yeah.
The perspiration literally evaporated the instant his pores exposed it to the air. He didn't know how Ceci, who was sitting between him and Davy, managed to stay so cool.
Alien.
That could be it, he said. The only trouble is we don't have any dinosaur bones in this town.
Yeah, did they not have a museum?
That's, oh, yeah, I don't
There
know.
must be something dinosaur related.
Right,
though.
you're in the desert. Okay. Who says we have to stay in this town? Ceci asked. No one, Carl admitted. But I don't even know if the museums in San Diego have dinosaur bones. Not to mention the fact that they don't ordinarily keep them in metal graves? Do they have to be in bone form? Davy asked. I thought I saw some live dinosaurs strolling around the town the other night, Ceci said in her most helpful manner. What the fuck does that mean? A guy with dinosaur leather shoes was probably walking them, Davy added, making me go insane because none of this makes sense. It was an honest mistake, Carl said. He tapped the half-open window at his back. Are you following this, Tom? You know the answer is no! Oil, Tom said. What? Carl said. Oil, Tom repeated.
Why are you doing that voice?
It's like Wizard of Oz.
Man.
Okay.
Oil. So this is actually how he said it. Oil.
Okay.
Dinosaur bones are a source of oil, Davy exclaimed. Way to go, Tom. You're not that dumb after all. But that's not literally correct, Carl said, nevertheless impressed with the concept. Most natural oil comes from the decomposition of microscopic plant and animal life. I read that in a book. Also, I work at a gas station. Then it must be true, Davy
Part
said.
of orientation.
The history
Where
of gas.
gas comes from.
But what are the chances Mr. Partridge or his club members read the same book? Carl nodded. All right, but where do we find oil in a... He stopped. An oil tank. That must be it. It's made of metal. What do you think, Tom? They all turned and stared at Tom. Shirtless Tom.
Tom nodded. Let's go there, Ceci said, excited. Where? Davy asked impatiently. I don't care where, Ceci said, as long as they have food. I actually don't remember her being this insane earlier.
She was not.
Has she always been
No.
Well, no,
insane?
she was insane from the jump because we first met her. She was in the pool naked.
Oh, she was naked in the pool, and then she did eat like a whole breakfast platter. She did eat a lot.
But also like made like a shitload of breakfast.
Yeah.
And
So
they
there's
did,
some sort of like parasites from space at this point.
They
for
did
me.
talk about how she could eat and eat and eat
Yeah.
and stay skinny.
And that she could eat anything.
You'd think that her metabolism would be so high she'd run hot.
Yeah.
Her body is cool, apparently.
Also, I keep meaning to mention
like a lizard.
Like a lizard. I
And
keep
she's
meaning to
horny,
mention this.
which is like species, which is also aliens.
Yes.
Also lizards.
Has anyone
Yeah.
here? I know you haven't, but has anyone here read The Stand by Stephen King?
Nope.
Yes,
Okay, who said that? John.
John said yes.
I did.
Okay, do you remember the fucking character Tom in The Stand?
Yep.
That's all I keep thinking of. There's a character in The Stand whose name is I can't remember his last name, but there's a main character named Tom who's like this fucking, it's like an idiot savant thing. He's like a developmentally disabled guy who God talks through.
M-O-O-N.
Yes!
That spells tired.
Yes, that's what I keep thinking. Is his whole thing? He keeps saying M-O-O-N. That spells, and then he'll say whatever that spells, and then it turns out to be like an omen. But every time Tom opens his mouth in my head, I keep going M-O-O-N. That spells oil.
Jesus Christ.
And I keep wanting to make the joke, and I know no one's gonna fucking get
I
it.
would have thought you were insane.
I know.
Baby, can you date your man? He is a righteous man. That was the other recurring line in the book.
Yeah, because Stephen King really, if there's one thing Stephen King loves to do, is put like fucking 50s rock and roll lyrics in his books for no goddamn reason.
That sounds
Yeah,
about right.
he's big on that.
He's
Yeah.
really big on it.
There are several oil tanks in town I can think of, Carl said. There's a couple outside of town. Where should we begin? Let's go to the closest one and work our way out, Davy said. It seemed a reasonable suggestion. Unfortunately, they probably should have done the reverse. They spent a full 2 hours searching the oil tanks in town and came up empty-handed. The heat made the wasted effort particularly grueling. It didn't matter how much Carl drank. He was always thirsty. He couldn't remember a hotter day. If Ceci hadn't been along for the ride, it would have been like being in hell. When they had exhausted Express, they got on Highway 22, taking the 2-lane road 4 miles out of town to a small deserted oil refinery.
It's a high school scavenger hunt.
I know.
It's
They
crazy.
should
Send
be in
kids
class.
there.
The place hadn't been in operation since Carl could remember. Dust, rust, and tumbleweed had taken over. Parking beside the sagging front gate and climbing out of his truck, Carl wondered if Mr. Partridge honestly expected anyone to win the scavenger hunt. The area was dead silent. Not even a bird or insect could be heard. I bet this is the place, Davy said confidently, stepping toward the lock on the gate. It reminds me of Mr. Partridge. Why do you say that? Carl asked.
Dust, Rust, and
Tumbleweed is the name of my country album.
Well, it's what I plan on naming my 3 children.
Chris, you're breaking up.
Dust, Rust, and Tumbleweed is what I plan on naming my 3 children.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did, and I tried saying it at the same time. I had my mic muted. I was like, I'm waiting for my moment right before my page, and I'm gonna say this, and then
we both. I'm sorry. We
I
both
had
did
mic
this.
issues, and it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
You know what though? This is why we're friends.
This is why I hate the internet. Davy tugged on the chain.
Why do you ask?
No particular reason, Carl said. I was just thinking how little we know about the guy to waste the whole day trying to solve his puzzle. Davy let go of the chain.
That's an interesting suggestion.
What? I feel like they're having 2 different conversations.
Yes.
I have no idea what's happening in this book.
Me either.
Carl didn't know he had suggested anything. What?
All right.
That this might all be an elaborate hoax.
Davy said. Carl looked at him closely. He got real close. You think that's possible? Davy smiled.
It wouldn't bother me one bit if it was true.
My brother loves a good joke, Ceci said.
What?
And he loves kissing.
Are we going to go inside or what? Tom asked. The faculty wouldn't let him get away with it, Carl said.
He's such a character,
Davy said.
He came out of nowhere. He'll probably go back there. Would he care what they say?
I think we should go inside, Ceci said. It looks like a fun place.
What?
Davy glanced at the rusty lock and chain.
Let's circle around.
They didn't have to go far to find a place where they could slip beneath the fence. Ceci didn't hesitate to get down in the dust and the dirt. There might be ice cream on the other side. Carl went before her.
Picturing her digging through like a mole.
Carl went before her and saw a lot of her brown legs as he helped her up on the other side. Classic Carl. He still wasn't sure if she had on any underwear.
What?
That's what's been at the forefront of his mind this whole time.
Wait, is she wearing a skirt? He wasn't sure. What?
Yep.
Do you know what a vagina looks like, Carl?
No, clearly he doesn't.
What if she's an alien? It might just
That's
be
an
teeth
odd
down there.
pattern.
God. I think she's wearing a dress.
It reminds me of that Family Guy joke where Olivia says to Stewie, "Do you know what sex is?" And he goes, "Of course I do. A kind of cake?" Like, he doesn't know. A kind of cake?
Kind of cake.
That was fun. Carl was pretty sure she didn't have any on. There were 4 oil tanks at the rear of the refinery.
He was pretty sure, but not 100%.
Back to from how many, whether or not she's wearing underwear to how many oil tanks are in the space.
As one does.
Covering all the bases.
Carl felt a certain uselessness as they skirted the refinery's web of pipes toward them. These tanks were ancient. They had long ago lost their paint. He couldn't imagine they were anything but dry, hollow husks. He turned out to be correct. It made no difference. There was a cardboard box on top of the first tank they climbed. It was filled with 12 jungle green camping hats. A whole dozen made Carl figure they had gotten there before Rick. Okay, but Rick's in a wheelchair. How's he going to get in the refinery? Tom grabbed a hat and put it on. He was still walking around in his socks.
Oh my god.
They were both filthy. Oh my god. So
well,
bad.
at least the wet one's probably dry now, given the climate.
That's true.
The clue on the side of the box read, "The Peaks. 2 of a kind," Ceci added, reading from the list. "Where are there 2 peaks around here? It was too easy to solve.
Twin Peaks? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck?
That's so on the nose.
Right by that waterfall.
God damn it.
It was too easy to solve. Perhaps Mr. Partridge, he would give them a break on that end of it, since it would require a Herculean effort to climb the peaks. From the top of the tank, they appeared to be in walking distance. 2 sharp, almost identical hills devoid of any trace of vegetation. But Carl knew from past experience how deceptive distance could be out here, especially when an object stood alone, as did these twin hills. There were at least another 5 miles into the desert. The desert? They were there already and hadn't even noticed. There was nothing between them and the sharp, barren hills except lizards and thorns. He had once tried climbing them in the 7th grade with Joe. They hadn't been able to reach the top. They're right there, Carl said, pointing, the heat rising off the ground in shimmering waves before his outstretched arms. These sentences are too long.
Yeah.
It would be a chore to maneuver his trucks to the base of the peaks. He almost felt like saying to hell with it right then and there.
Of course, he was fooling himself. There wasn't a chance he would quit in front of Ceci. Nate, she said, we get to go hiking. I'm insane. Sometime later, he managed to bring his truck within a 1/4 mile of the hills. He guaranteed himself new shocks in the process. The ground was rocky. He shot his old ones. The bumping up and down gave him a slight headache.
Bye, Grandpa. Bye, Grandma. I love you. But this has to happen.
He had to worry
Gotta
about...
shoot your old ones.
That's the way of life in Express.
I mean, when the ground is rocky.
Yeah.
That's just what you have to do.
I mean, it's hard, but...
Oh, God. He had to worry about Tom in the back with no cushion beneath his rump again. But Tom just nodded his stoic head whenever Carl asked how he was doing. Oh, Tom's like, this isn't the worst bump I've ever had to deal with.
Oh.
When they climbed out of the truck, Davey brought up the idea that there was no reason why all 4 of them should hike to the top. In fact, Davey said only Carl and Ceci should go. Why us 2? Carl asked. It'll give you a chance to talk, Davey said, plopping down on the ground in the truck's shadow, resting his back against a tire. And give you a chance to recuperate, Carl said. It was funny how he had never asked himself how he felt about Davey. It was funny how he had never asked himself how he felt about Davey. It is funny.
Like, this is like chapter 18, not 6 or 7 or whatever we're on.
It is chapter 6, literally, but
So,
it feels like chapter 18.
You've never given him any consideration as a person?
Apparently, yeah. He's just been there. And only now you're just like, how do I feel about you?
Yeah.
How do I feel about you?
I mean, as one does when one is, if, I would hope you would think that if you're gonna go to Hawaii with someone.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this covered in chapter 2?
I don't even think Davey was in chapter 2.
I don't even know what's going on. So,
Neither do we.
I was
We've
gonna
read
say,
the whole thing so far.
Don't worry, John, we don't either.
Well, I guess it said Davey and Ceci have only been in town for a year.
Yeah.
But usually, the first conversation you have with another person, you're kind of considering them and their traits and things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forming opinions and whatnot.
He probably subconsciously recognized the fact that he had to stay on his good side if he was to get anywhere with Ceci. But now that he thought about it, he didn't much care for the guy.
I also just the idea of one kid looking at another and being like, I don't like you.
I felt that a lot growing up.
He's just he plops down on the ground, and that's just the moment he's like,
Yeah.
no.
I don't like that guy.
I don't like that guy.
This is the moment.
So funny. Tom can't climb the hill without shoes, Davey said, closing eyes, even though we could have bought him some today. Someone's got to stay and keep him company. Go ahead, take the water bottle. Ceci will keep your energy up. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. All right, Carl said, not feeling in the mood to argue. He seldom argued with anybody. That was one of his problems. What the fuck?
What the?
Fucking Carl.
Shielding his eyes from the sun, he looked up toward the top of the peaks, a steep 1,500 feet above his head, and prayed his legs didn't fall off. Ceci leaned over and whispered confidentially. That was hard for some reason.
Nailed it.
In his ear. I have a lot more energy than he does, she said. Sometime later.
I ate so much ice cream. I can't wait to climb this hill in the desert.
Yeah. The hike went well enough until they started up. Then it became murderous, and Carl was not out of shape. These sentences are weird.
Yes.
It ends in a way that
like
is
all
so
of them
far
are
from
bad.
how it started.
It almost seems like he's writing it worse as the book goes on to make you feel like you're going crazy,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give him that much credit.
Yeah.
Did he have a stroke in the middle?
A keystroke.
He had a clear plastic gallon water bottle strung over his back, and with the sun beating down on it, they could have used its contents for making tea. There was no clear path up the hills, certainly nothing that gradually wound to the top. Not that it mattered. Ceci wouldn't have followed it. She was in a hurry to reach the summit. She believed in the straight and the true. She believed in the straight and the true. She bounded forward in front of him, and his male ego demanded that he not ask to take a break. I hope he dies up there. Out of stubbornness. What if it's the other peak? She called over her shoulder. Let's not think about it, he said, panting. They had chosen the closer one because it was closer. Beautifully constructed.
What a sentence.
Just like Fitzgerald would have put it.
Somewhere he's like, well done, Christopher.
She glanced back at him and smiled. Tired? No. Having fun?
No.
Yes. Wish you were back in my swimming pool? Yes. Maybe when this is all over we can go for a swim. She paused, glancing down at the truck, which already looked remarkably tiny. Neither Davy nor Tom were visible. Carl wondered what Tom thought of Davy.
Not much, probably.
It was funny he had never asked him before. Ceci lost her smile. We'll see, she said. They had chosen correctly. There was a cardboard box at the top. It contained a pair of hiking boots. One pair. Ceci said they should take both of them. Carl plopped down on a nearby rock without even looking in the box, trying to catch his breath. Would that be fair to the others? He asked. It says on the side, a pair of hiking boots. We have to take both. They might fit Tom.
If you wanted to think of Tom...
I wish I would have ad-libbed that.
Already in a shoe store, Ceci.
Yes. Ceci stepped to the...
Several shoe stores. Like, multiple ones.
Ceci stepped to the edge of the peak and looked out, east, away from town. He'll need something on his feet. I don't think we're going back to town. Why do you say that? Because of the next clue. It says, keep going. What did the clue on the list say? All alone with nothing around, Ceci held out her arm. Look, there's a small house out there, all by itself. That's what it must be referring to. Carl got to his feet with effort. He wondered if he could roll back down the hill. He could feel blisters forming on both his big toes. He stepped to Ceci's side. It was an odd house. Besides being totally isolated, it was purple.
What the fuck
Of course it was.
is going on?
It just sounds like I'm making it up as I go.
Yes.
Carl had never seen a purple house before. He had never heard of anyone living out there. I don't see a
Did
road
Mike
leading
East
to
write
it.
this?
I've never seen I drew the duck blue because I wanted to see a blue duck.
I don't see a road leading to it, Carl said. I do, Ceci said. Too many C names. It's a dirt road. It comes in from the back. He squinted. Hell yeah, it does. Your eyes must be sharper than mine. They are.
They're aliens.
Clearly I'm a predator.
I'm a lizard person.
She looked at him with her big, dark blue eyes.
Dark?
They were always dancing, always looking for fun. He hadn't noticed the intelligence behind them before. I see a lot
Rude.
of things that you don't. He blushed
Like
beneath
colors.
his sunburn.
And people's heart rates.
Okay.
It's sleepwalkers.
Okay, guys, if you lived in a desert town,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you just have
Sunblock on you all the time.
sunblock on
Yeah.
you at all times?
Yeah,
This was 89.
100%.
It was the 80s.
That's true. People were really into tanning.
Okay.
But John, you're
She
correct.
She led him to the... He blushed beneath his sunburn. What do you see? That you're tired! She took his arm. Come, let's sit. Let's talk.
Oh no.
She led him to the boulder he had plopped down on a moment ago and sat beside him, picking up the jug. Thirsty? She asked. Not for boiling hot water. She
Nice.
pulled off the cap, inverting the bottle about a foot above her wide mouth and tilting her head back. She let it all pour out, swallowing at most a couple of ounces and allowing the rest to splash over the front of her dress, her hair. She was not wearing a bra, and the drenching reminded him again about Pearl her breast fur. How smooth ran the curves of her hips, as if he needed reminding.
But clearly
Wow.
we did.
All right.
Is it getting hot in here?
What are you thinking? She asked. She set aside the bottle.
I
Nothing.
was thinking about my boner.
Yeah, nothing's the correct
yeah, that's true.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, your mind is never empty, and neither are your pants. Tell me. Come on, guys. It's a good joke. Come on. Thank you.
My brain's broken.
I know, John. I'm sorry.
I think I like stopped hearing as a defense mechanism.
I did too. Because I was just thinking about how the fact she just upended a gallon jug of water
She's
on
just
her
like,
face.
splash,
Glug,
splash,
glug, glug,
splash.
glug, glug.
What are you thinking?
What are you thinking?
What's on your mind right now? What could it possibly be?
What the fuck?
These are teenagers, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And
It was very
Christopher
clear that
Pike-
at least Carl was 18. I don't
Yeah.
know about
And Christopher-
Ceci, but she's an alien. She's probably
She's
like
1,000.
400 years old. Yeah.
and Christopher Pike is not a teenager.
No, he was. I believe we calculated. I think he was 34 when he wrote this book.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, gross.
Yes. Correct.
See, this is why I'm afraid to write novels, because I'm afraid of writing passages like whatever this is.
Yeah.
You mean you can't read my mind? She smiled, drops from the bottle still clinging to her cheeks. I don't know you that
Not drops
well.
of water. Drops from the bottle.
Drops
Just
from
like,
the
why
bottle.
would you say it like that? I'm
Drops
sorry.
From the bottle.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't write like a sexy scene. I would just say, and they had a great time.
You would do the literary equivalent of the camera just like tilting up as they kiss on the bed.
Exactly.
Fade
It's
out.
just like, I don't have to write this next part. Your mind will do the
And then the
rest.
curtains billowed, and then we just didn't see what happened.
Scene not
Let's
completed.
get back to more dialogue.
And then there's dragons.
I don't know you that well, she said. Tom has told me only a few things about you. I do not trust everything he says because of the TBI. What did he say? That you were old friends? We are. We go way back. Did he say anything else?
A few things, Ceci said. How is it you and Tom became friends? You seem so different. We have things in common. It would surprise you. How did you meet him? Through Davy. Davy likes Tom. He says he does. Carl chuckled, remembering her remark at breakfast. I almost said breakfast because I don't know how to read anymore.
I don't. Is it gonna tell us? Because I don't fucking remember her remark at breakfast.
Yeah, I don't either. But you don't believe him? Ceci smiled again. He's a liar. I should tell you that. I should tell you that about him. But then it runs in the family. She shifted her position on the rock so that the side of her leg touched his. He felt the steadiness of her gaze intimidating. Did you want to ask something else, Carl? No. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. I'm not shy. I just poured a gallon of water on myself, and I'm not wearing a bra or underwear, you think.
Okay, then, can I touch your boob?
He shrugged.
Over the shirt.
I was just wondering why you suddenly called this morning to invite me to be in your team. Tom told me to. Oh. Davy also wanted me to call you, she said. He chuckled again to hide his disappointment. I'm glad somebody likes me. She touched his arm. Her hand felt remarkably cool, like a lizard. Somebody does like you. Do you know who? Who? Tracy. Huh? Oh, Tracy? Yeah, we're old friends, but nothing more. There's nothing else to it. Ceci let go of his arm and looked away, frowning. What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
She has to be a lizard person.
Yes. He had never seen her serious before. No, it's something else. She doesn't like to see you. It causes her pain, but she needs to see you. That is what I see.
Jesus.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Neither do I.
She closed her eyes and put a hand on her head as if she might be the one in pain. Yes, she said softly. It's hard to understand. What is? How she feels. You're imagining things if you think Tracy loves me. Ceci suddenly opened her eyes and looked up. I was going to use that word. Have you ever been in love? What's happening?
She's an alien.
Have you? No. Is it fun?
She's like telepathic?
I guess. Carl laughed uneasily. I've heard it can be very painful. Ceci nodded faintly, watching him. I believe you. She continued to stare at him. Then she casually...
Please, read it. Yes,
no,
read it. Read all of it.
I just wanted to scan ahead to see what I meant for.
Is this spousal
Then
abuse?
she casually stretched out a hand and touched the back of his neck, rubbing his tense muscles there, tugging lightly on his hair. She did it so suddenly and yet so deceptively slowly. The action had him almost hypnotized. Alien hypnotizing powers.
Yeah.
Then she moved close enough to where he could feel the clean coolness of her breath on the side of his face. She had such big lips. Oh. He stopped breathing when she leaned over and kissed him with them.
With her big ol' lips.
Yep. Kissed him with those lips. Do you want to go back? She whispered as she pulled back a moment later, nuzzling her nose into the side of his cheek. He wasn't sure what she was asking or if he had even kissed her in return. That would be weird if he just sat there. He took a deep breath and swallowed. He should have been excited, and he was.
Only he felt oddly heavy, as if he were about to sink into the rock they sat upon. Both her dark blue eyes were wide open, her long black lashes gently brushing his skin.
She's sending him to
the sunken place.
Sunken place.
Oh no!
I'd like to lead where the hunt leads. I'd like to see where the hunt leads, he said. So does Davy. So does Tom. Don't you? He asked. She moved away. He imagined for a moment he heard a sigh escape her lips. Then she flashed her usual bewitching smile. It could be fun, she said. Sometime later.
What the fuck is going on?
Their team did not reach the house until 6 o'clock. He and Ceci took their time going back down the hill. She was no longer in a hurry. She was showing no signs of fatigue, however, like an alien. He couldn't understand it. She had the endurance of an Olympic alien and the personality of a woodland alien. Nothing about her made any sense. He felt so confused, like someone who had gone alone to bed in one room only to awaken beside a stranger in another.
What? That's so specific.
Indeed, his confusion
Christopher
had
Pike was
started the
working through
moment
some
we
shit.
all started reading this book. That's when the confusion had started. The moment she had awakened him. It had been a weird day. It had also been a weird book. Her kiss. It had tasted sweet as magic. But like a trick performed by a professional magician, there had been something insubstantial about it.
What does that mean? He didn't even kiss her back. Like, what?
Dude.
Why did she bring up Tracy?
That
thought to
alien was
himself.
good enough to kiss you, and all you could say was, "Oh, it was professional, but insubstantial."
I'd make out with an alien. Like, why not? He doubted it had been out of jealousy. The dirt road Ceci had spoken of did exist. To get to it from the base of the peaks, they had to cross a wasteland of prickly tumbleweed, chipped rocks, and parched shrubs. Now he needed a new paint job as well as new shocks, because what he most cares about is his vehicle.
What did you cross out?
I had a note about the purple house, but I thought they were going to go right there, and they didn't yet, so I'm just crossing it out to write it lower, so I don't get confused when I'm reading it again.
Smart.
They parked 10 yards shy of the front door. "Should we knock?" Carl asked. "Honk," Davy said. "That would be rude," Ceci said. Davy reached over and pressed the horn twice.
Davy, you're a
No
dick.
one came to the front door. "No one's home," he told his sister. "We didn't offend anybody." They got out of the truck. The sun would set inside of an hour, but it was still burning up the sky. The ground also held the heat. Carl's blister had finished forming long ago and it popped.
Ew.
Tom
He was
had
in
on the
agony.
boots- Tom had on the boots from the top of the hill. Now all he needed was a pair of pants to be fully dressed.
Wait, I thought he didn't have a shirt. Or did he put a shirt on and I missed it? Or...
I definitely missed it. If he put on a shirt. Wait, is he in his underwear?
I think he had a
was
tank
in
top.
shorts.
Okay.
He was in, like, athletic shorts.
But shouldn't he have pants?
Yeah.
He gave his pants to Carl at the beginning of the book.
Carl is currently
he-
wearing Tom's clothes.
Yeah.
So Tom was wearing his bathing suit.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Okay, they found a pair of jeans in a cardboard box on the front porch. Tom put them on. They fit nicely. The clue said, "Keep going." "To where?" Carl asked, standing on the rickety front porch with the others. Someone had ripped off several boards off the floor and nailed them over the front door and across the windows. That someone had been in a hurry. They probably could have broken into the joint without much effort, had they wanted, but Carl did not want to. He did not like the feel of the place. It may have been the faint smell in the air. The surroundings were as dry as Sahara sand, yet he was reminded of a swamp. I can't fucking read.
Oh, it's the book. It's not you.
Yet he was reminded of a swamp, of putrid water and decaying fish. Where was that odor coming from? Whose house was this? Ceci sat on the front porch railing, swinging her long brown legs in the warm pink light. "To know where we should go," she said in jest, "we should first ask ourselves where we are."
What?
Davy shook his head, pacing the porch excited. "It doesn't matter. Keep closing in on our goal, Tom, don't you think? Keep going means we should continue along this dirt road."
Definitely, Tom
It's
said.
just occurring to me
Yeah.
that Ceci and Davy are like Riff Raff and Magenta. Because they're brother
Oh my
and sister
God.
aliens that kiss.
Yes. Oh my God, they're Riff Raff and Magenta. So is Mr. Partridge Frankenfurter.
Yes. Tom is Rocky.
Tom is Rocky. Oh, he's so naked. Oh my God,
He's
he
naked
is.
and simple.
Oh
And then
my
Rick is-
God.
Wait, Rick is Dr.
Tracy
Scott.
and Carl are
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Rick is Dr. Scott.
Is
Tracy
Paula,
and Carl are the
Columbia?
the couple whose car breaks down. Because they're going to end
Oh,
up together in the end.
Yeah, Tracy and
Brad
Carl
and
are
Janet.
Brad
Carl
and
are
Janet.
Brad and Janet.
Paula is
Paula's
Columbia.
Columbia.
I think we're out of characters.
Yeah.
Rick
Wait.
is Dr. Scott.
Yeah, Rick
He's
is
in
Dr.
wheelchair.
But
Scott.
who's Eddie?
Oh.
I was gonna say, who's
yeah, we
Meatloaf?
have to figure out who's
we need to
Eddie.
find an Eddie.
Yeah.
What did you say?
We have a Meatloaf. I meant Eddie.
I know who Eddie is.
No,
I
I
mean
said
in the book.
I said who's Meatloaf. I know we're saying the same thing. We're saying the
okay.
same thing.
I thought you were saying Eddie's meatloaf.
No, I know you know Eddie's Meatloaf. If you haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, none of this makes any sense. But also, like, what the fuck are you doing listening to our show? You haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I mean, so many times.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Rocky said no. Tom said. How can you say definitely? Carl asked. I just said it, Tom said. Carl shifted uneasily. If we stay on this road, we'll go deep into the desert. God only knows where it leads. Tom looked at him. You know. Not really, Carl said. Sure you do, Davy said. You grew up around here. We have to go on. We have to go now. The others will catch us if we don't. I doubt that, Carl said. I wouldn't underestimate Rick or Tracy, Davy said seriously, stepping in front of Carl. He had the same eyes as Ceci. They were identical. They had the same hair. She said they were both liars. I'm not making any of this up.
I realized I was just thinking about Rocky Horror for a while and not listening to the book. What just happened?
I don't know. It's getting weird.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to take my truck out there, Carl said. Davy smiled, and that was different from Ceci. Her smile was rich with fun and laughter. There wasn't a trace of warmth in Davy's. Think of the grand prize, Davy said. The Hawaiian Islands, floating in that warm blue water. I don't know, Carl said. We don't have any choice, Davy said.
Wait, so did they find an item at the Purple House?
Yeah, the boots.
No, the boots were up on the mountain.
No, Oh, the pants.
That's the title of the episode.
There was pants in a
Boots were
box.
up on the mountain.
Yeah, they found...
they said they found pants in a box. I didn't know if it was
at the
just
house.
random pants in a box or the clue was pants.
No, they found pants in a box and then another clue that just said keep going.
Oh, another keep going?
Yeah.
Pants. Okay.
He said we. Carl heard him, yet his mind understood it differently. You don't have any choice. Carl might have argued with Davy further if it hadn't been for the lizard.
What?
I don't.
Guys.
You used to have a lizard named Eddie.
Fuck! Full circle.
You scared Alfie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alfie. I used to have an iguana named Eddie. He didn't know where it came from, and when he first saw it, he had trouble believing his own eyes.
Why wasn't it named Iggy?
I don't... Why...
I'm so confused.
Oh, because it was an iguana?
Yeah.
Because, like current day me, I just said the first thing that popped into my mind when I was presented an iguana, and I said, his name's Eddie.
You had a rat named Tina.
And I had a rat named Tina. Why? I don't know.
Okay, wow.
You didn't choose these pets, they were just given to you. Oh yeah, this is something that little weirdo will like.
Do children choose anything besides names for pets? Okay, Bekah, read, because it's starting to get really weird.
It was the biggest lizard he had ever seen. 2 feet from head to hind leg, with a scaly tail. I would think his whole body was scaly, but with a scaly tail that could have been skinned and stretched into a belt for a whole heavy metal band of Satan worshippers.
What? Is it a Komodo dragon?
I wish I had another.
How is every line weird? Normally we make some headway.
Yeah.
And then there's a weird line.
No.
Every single line is bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. And I'm
Neither do we.
It gets weirder. He didn't recognize the species. It was the same color as the house, a purple lizard. It had 2 claws on Ceci's right foot. It was ready to crawl up her leg. Ceci looked down at it and smiled. Hello, she said. Carl reacted instinctively, jumping forward and lashing out with his right foot. The tip of his shoe caught the lizard on its jaw, barely grazing Ceci's skin. Unfortunately, the kick threw him off balance. He went flying along with the lizard, you fucking idiot. Why do you kick a lizard?
He kicked a lizard!
It hit the house wall to the right side of the door.
He kicked a lizard into a wall!
He kicked a lizard into a house.
That lizard wasn't doing anything wrong.
It did put a claw on Ceci, but she
is
didn't seem to
going
mind.
on?
He hit the wooden floor with his head. He looked so upset. He fucking wiped out and hit the floor. That's hilarious. A sharp pain stabbed across both his temples. Rolling onto his side, he was presented with a mouse-eyed view of the lizard as it picked itself up and scampered toward his unprotected face, its dark purple tongue flashing. I can't read this book anymore. Is it running like on its hind legs? Do you think like how they do? And they like windmill their arms.
With the Jesus lizard, he's like,
Jesus lizard.
that's what they're called.
Oh,
Because they run on water.
I didn't know they were called that.
I mean, it's not their actual name, but it's what people call them.
Tom! He cried. Which is so funny because he already seems like a baby because he kicked a lizard and fell, and now he's like calling out for his friend. Oh God, ew. Davy stepped on it. On its head. He had on high black leather boots. Did he? Why are we only just hearing about that?
Is he dressed like a beetle?
And incredible reflexes and power in his legs.
What?
His sharp heel ground the lizard's skull flat into the floor with sickening finality. Black blood spurted all over the splintered boards. The lizard's tail flopped twice, then lay still. Davy slowly raised his boot, revealing a pulpy mess. Carl closed his eyes, feeling sick to his stomach. He wasn't sure who yanked him to his feet. It must have been Tom. When he reopened his eyes, Tom had a hand on his arm, his face as impassive and mask-like as that morning when he hadn't even bothered to glance over at Ceci's naked body.
Did we switch to a different book?
Should I finish this? Or
Yeah.
Finish?
Yeah. Just take us home. Let this nightmare end.
It's time to go, old buddy, Tom said. They climbed in his truck. Tom got behind the wheel. Is that a good idea? Carl sat in the back. Before they drove away, he removed his watch and tossed it in the sand by the front porch.
Why? What?
Dread was growing dark and heavy in his heart. The watch was a message in a bottle, a selfish gesture. He almost hoped the others didn't come far enough to find it.
What?
Realizing that death comes for us all, or like some shit. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know what's happening.
Other than, oops, Carl lost his watch here. What is the message supposed to even be? Anyway,
okay,
that was the
so
end of the
now-
chapter.
Now Carl is Matthew McConaughey in True Detective. And he's just so freaking jaded with everything.
What do you even write?
I'm just thinking that purple lizard. Davy steps on it.
This is... I never thought that a Christopher Pike book could get weirder and crazier than the shit that we've already read.
It might be the weirdest one yet.
This is weirder than time-traveling robot wants to fuck her own grandpa.
Yeah. Or
Right.
Ghost and Columbo team up.
Almost. It's almost there, and I know that it will get there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the fuck is up with Davy and Ceci, and when we find out, I know it's going to be insane.
I don't know what just happened. But I feel like I've had a traumatic brain injury of my own.
I know. I feel the desire to apologize to you.
Also, I can't get over this either. So, like,
Yeah.
the kid has muscular dystrophy
Yeah.
and a manual wheelchair.
Yes.
And he's riding around the desert.
Yep. It's a rugged wheelchair.
They did mention in one of the previous chapters, like that he should be in a motorized wheelchair, and it's like
He should!
and like
And
he
he
doesn't.
refuses
He
it?
refuses. Yeah,
But if he doesn't have fucking insurance, I mean, there's no way he'd be able to get it anyway.
that's true. Yeah.
But it was also like, very inspiration porn, and like
Yeah.
Paula won't help him with
Also-
anything. She's so hard on him, so he can
also,
learn to be tough.
He probably can't feel his legs, so, like...
No blisters for him, at least.
Yeah, I forgot about the
he'll
whole.
get blisters, but, you know...
I forgot about the
He's not
whole.
on his feet.
Yeah.
His sister, like won't help him to make him tough instead of just like be fucking,
Helping him.
instead of
Yes.
just helping.
Helping
Maybe just help him.
occasionally.
helping.
Yeah, maybe.
Because-
Helping a normal amount.
Yeah.
Because that totally helps the disabled. It
Yes.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Pull yourself up
Again,
by your
I can-
bootstraps.
Not helping. Help.
I can't, and I've tried. Damn it. Motor skills.
I feel like on my deathbed, if someone, I'm gonna like, gonna like motion you close to me, and you're gonna say, "Yes, Jonathan," and I'm gonna say, "I can't fucking believe Clint McElroy read this entire book." It's good. I feel like that's gonna haunt me the rest of my entire life.
I just can't imagine how traumatized Tracy is for what she saw, because I just, hearing the words put an image in my head I wish I could scrub away.
He read this whole book, and then he was like, "I'll still go on that show."
Yeah. I'll still talk to these people.
Talk to these people.
He read this whole book, watched episodes of it, and then still came on.
God bless him.
I want to read ahead so
Ooh,
bad.
it's hard because this is crazy.
I just want to open a random page.
I just want to say, like, again, the purple house thing is totally something my niece would say. Either of them.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "John, there's a Uncle John, there's a purple house, and I've never seen a purple house, and there's a purple house."
And you're like,
Did
cool.
you see the purple house?
Yeah.
I'm like,
There's a purple lizard in front of the purple house.
Davey stepped on it.
I wonder if the purple lizard was an alien and Davey was like trying to wipe out his alien competition. I'm really hung up on them being lizard aliens.
I'm fully
specifically.
on board with them being lizard people.
Also, now I can see why my mom wasn't fond of Christopher Pike.
I can't imagine any
Oh, man.
any mom reading
What if they
any of these.
What if they turn out to be one-eyed purple eaters?
Is that a song? What is that from? Is that a song?
Yes,
One-eyed,
it's a song.
one-horned,
Yeah.
flying
Flying
purple
people
eater.
Yeah.
We just watched Nope, and there's that part where
guy
Michael
says it
Michael
all
Wincott.
menacingly.
Yeah, it's like one-eyed purple people. You know, the guy with the grapple voice.
Still haven't watched it.
What?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god, it's
really good.
It's really
Yeah.
good. Holy shit, Chris.
I liked it a lot better than Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Us is good, but Nope is fantastic.
Yeah, I think I like series more than movies because I need a constant source of dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And like when a movie ends, like the hangover from it is like really harsh on me.
But when it's like,
I get that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't get it.
Even if I really like it, I'm like, well, now what do I do with my life?
When I
Do
really,
something else. Play a video game.
I know. When I really like it, I'm like, well, there's something that I can watch again sometime that I love. Cool.
That's why I got into like the old series from the 30s, because every movie's like an episode of a TV show.
Yeah. Serials are great.
Just watch
A
all the
whole
Thin
bunch
Mans.
of them are on YouTube.
Nice. Well, John, what did you think of this
Dude,
nonsense?
I honestly don't know what we just read, and
Yeah.
I thought I was a pretty strong reader until today, but I don't know what the heck just happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed reading it.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
It wasn't
just
you,
can't-
it was the book.
I just can't tell you anything that happened, except I don't want a chewy chocolate cone.
Yeah. It did weirdly make me want a chocolate milkshake. That and that feels
Let's
gross.
all go out for a frosty chocolate milkshake.
I'm the only one that could get one immediately.
You fucker.
We could make
I live
one.
across the street
We have a milkshake
from
maker and
an
ice
ice
cream.
cream store.
I forgot we bought ice cream specifically to make milkshakes. Guys, we're gonna go
Oh.
make milkshakes like right now, as soon as we're done.
It's a great idea.
Yes. All right. Well, John, thank you so much for coming back to our show.
You're welcome. I had
we
a blast.
love you.
Thanks for having me.
What do you want people to know about? What do you got to plug?
Check out my TikTok, John Nagle, JOHNNAGLE 783 on the TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
which I know all the kids are using now, and it's basically just me ranting about wrestling or hair bands,
Yeah.
or wrestling and hair bands.
You're living
You
your
know,
best life.
it's like knowing me, but in 60-second spurts.
Yeah.
Versus these poor guys who've had to listen to it for hours.
Well, I was just gonna say that's just not enough time because we love you.
yeah, my poor partner has had to listen to my conspiracy theory about how the Clark Gable vehicle, San Francisco, and Titanic are basically the same movie.
I desperately want you to make Dylan listen to this episode when it comes out. So.
Oh, I totally will.
Okay,
and
good.
He will absolutely read it too. He's that kind of a guy.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. You can follow Below Grade Level on Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, and subscribe to Below Grade Level wherever you find podcasts. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out to the people listening on YouTube one more time, because you guys have been leaving some comments, and it's nice. It's a nice dopamine hit for us. So thank you for listening. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any stuff to recommend. I've gotten some good recommendations, so if you have any books to recommend, let us know. Leave us a comment, or you can email us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Chris, anything to add?
Also, check out The Sketchy Show, also under Cactus Rodeo. It's a show that me, Jonathan, and returning champion John Walker do, where we improvise sketches and John edits it into something magical.
One day the next episode will come out. And you can also check out Casting Dreams, where me and Patrick Anderson talk about the Sega Dreamcast. The episode where we talk about Virtua Tennis just dropped today, actually, as of recording this. So if you want to listen to us talk about a tennis video game, then go listen to that podcast. I bored myself saying those words.
I bet it's fun, though.
Oh, thank you. That's it. Tune in next time to find out where the fuck is gonna happen on this book.
I looked ahead. I just peeked, and all I saw was the word crystals.
Fuck! Aliens!
I have no idea where this book is going.
I'm so excited. All right, I can't wait to get to the end of the Scavenger Hunt with all of you. We love you. Bye!
Bye!
Bye! Below Grade Level is a Cactus Radio production. You can contact us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Subscribe and follow on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more entertainment and updates.